Welcome to the third episode of NPSee, the series that aims to bring the unimportant NPCs from games to light. Let us dive right in to the vast world of Cyrodiil in Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Ottomale is an Argonian trickster that lives in Leowyn, the city to the far southeast of Cyrodiil. He can often be found wandering the streets or in the Five Claws Lodge. He seems an ordinary sort, but is really quite the rascal. When you first approach Ottomale, he claims,
"I'm Otumeel, but I didn't do anything, really. It wasn't me." No, really? It wasn't me. Never.
And talking to him about Leowyn, he seems to be hiding something.
When we are better friends, ask again.
Getting him to like you through speechcraft or bribery, he reveals that,
Okay, I'll tell you. It's so great. I sneak into people's houses, take things off their tables and shelves, and put them into barrels. Isn't that rich? They think that things are stolen, but no, they are right there. They just don't know.
Quite the fantastical occupation, that. How I do love doing it in real life.
You treacherous little
Speaking of speechcraft, Otumeel has a preference for the boastful.
I've been everywhere and done everything.
Such adventures. How I envy you.
Enjoys being coerced.
Stand around and keep quiet.
Doesn't fancy jokes.
I love magic too.
You think that's funny?
And detests admiration.
If you're looking for a friend,
Not now, not later, not ever.
Otumeel follows a relaxed schedule in which he meanders a lot, except if it is raining. On a precipitation-free day, he wakes up early at 6 a.m. and eats breakfast. At 8, he heads out and wanders around town, stretching his legs and chatting a bit.
Fine. Goodbye. Oh, hello, stupid.
Goodbye.
At 12, he heads to the Five Claw Lodge for lunch. Between 3 and 6, he wanders around Leowyn a bit more.
Ha!
And at 6, he returns to the lodge for dinner, spending the rest of the evening there. Finally, he heads home at midnight to sleep until morning. The routine continues day in, day out, with the exception of Sundas, basically Sunday. Instead of his usual stroll at 8 a.m., he heads to the chapel of Zenithar to pray for a couple of hours. After that, business as usual. Oh, lack of business, as usual. Thankfully, Ottomale isn't part of a faction I have to go through at length. He is simply a citizen of Leowyn, and, although a prankster, has no evidence linking him to the Thieves' Guild. He does live nearby some of that sort, however. His house is nothing special. It is one of the small homes in the central eastern side of Leowyn, near the fort-like part of town. A lovely pond is lined by many of the small houses, including his. Inside, there is naught worth taking. He is, frankly, not affluent, but it is a nice, cozy place nonetheless. An interesting feature is this painting. Fancy that. Something I am curious of, however, is his claim toward displacing goods in people's houses. At no point does he steal from any houses in his discussed routine, unless it's when I'm not looking. Gotta read a lot into that waiter-meter. Let us have a look around the bigger homes and check their barrels for his handiwork. I never found solid evidence in the houses I searched, though perhaps he's a mastermind and takes stuff off tables, puts them into barrels, and replaces it with identical objects. Makes sense? Now, let's see how fun of a prank it is. Yay! She won't know what hit her. Ah, but it has been long since I've experienced the high of adrenaline. Truly, I am blessed this day. Fumbling through his carried goods reveals he holds his house key and a little money, and could be holding food he accrued from his schedule, or an additional coin from all the bribes. Unfortunately, to examine further, I have to exact pain on him. Needs must for a holistic assessment of character that I made up. This time, Crow really is just murdering someone without justification.
It's all over, lawbreaker.
Am I the bad guy? At first, Ottomale fights back with his fists courageously, but swiftly flees. Honestly, that's a good idea. While he runs, he conceals himself with illusion magic, which made me completely lose him on many attempts. Despite his lack of combat prowess, he's much harder to kill, and while chasing him down, I felt more and more upset with my decisions. Nevertheless, I eventually slew him while evading the guards to determine that he wears wretched clothing. A burlap vest, sackcloth pants and sandals, close to what I wore at the start of the game. Divines, I'm a monster. I deserve this fate. You have my humblest apologies, Ottomale. As will be customary, I would rather administer the lover's kiss to spare him any other abhorrent machinations of mine.
By the gods, there's a psychopath on the loose.
Yes, I do sound that pretentious in everyday speech. I love the idea of Ottomale, and will definitely crib the thief who uses his powers for pranks for future characters I make. Aside from Ottomale, there are many fun scalawags, or should I say scallywags, around that do a bit of thieving. One such Argonian is Dar G, but he is its own kettle of lizards. Perhaps when I'm ready to do another story rundown for the Thieves Guild,
Want to see me
we'll come back
lick
to
my
him.
butts?
Let the NPC Otumeel be NPSeen. Thank you for joining me, and
Subscribe!
Oatmeal